Yesterday on Right to Real Love Radio, the #1 relationship podcast for Christians that will make you happier and smarter.
I actually hated the people who talked about God. Honestly, they annoyed me. But once you feel like God changing you in your life, and it's a permanent change, and it's a change where you realize who He is and what He's done for you, that's when it's easier to save yourself when you feel like sharing yourself is disappointing Him.
Now, let's get back into the discussion.
One thing that's coming to mind is like the boundaries. I know you guys have mentioned it just throughout our discussion, the different boundaries that you have in place. I'm curious, were you, or I should put it like this, when you set those boundaries, was it something that you consciously sat down and talked about the boundaries that you wanted to put in place, or was it something that kind of happened organically over time as things would happen? You'd be like, hey, kind of respect that. What was the process in regards to the boundaries that you constructed?
So the first thing that we did, we came up with a list of the do's and the don'ts, like, hey, you can't sit on my lap. You can't sleep over. We just came up with a list of the do's and don'ts. So we tried to our best, to comply by that list and just make sure that we practice everything that we're saying on the list. Sometimes it's hard. Some of the things on the list we had to scratch off, like, this is a little bit too hard, but it just, as time came, we just kind of got better and better. It took time, guys. Our mindset still had to change from looking at your body as just an ordinary body versus now we look at our body like this is the temple of God, the temple that God has given you. So just keep it pure, and keep it pure until you're ready to get married. And now you and your other significant other become one.
Yes.
So
when we made the list, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was kind of the one to complain. I was like, wait a minute, what? We can't do this? We can't do that? And I kind of got like frustrated, like, well, what can we do? This is not a relationship. This is a friendship. Like, what are we doing? And he just explained to me how, these things lead to other things. So this is why it had to be on the list. And Will is a man of faith, and he's also a leader. And he also knows how to show me biblically how we can improve in our relationship and what are the things that we need to do in order to make it successful, And that's what I appreciate about him, because that list, it really set the foundation for our relationship. And even though we had to scratch off some things, now we put them back on, from the beginning, the things that we scratched off, we actually gained the strength to put them back on. So now they're in effect right now. But I just, that list, I feel like it's very helpful, and it's very like black and white to show like what it is that you're going to accept and what it is that you're not going to accept in a relationship. So I do recommend that for other celibate couples out there.
I like that. And you guys are talking my language, because I think it's very important to have that list. And anybody who's listening to this podcast knows that I'm over here with the Kool-Aid smile based on what you guys are sharing, because I feel like it's not real until you write it down. And I love the fact that you guys actually have a physical list of things that you wrote down. You talked about it as a couple, and you even agreed that, hey, some things we're not ready to do. We're going to cross this off. And I love it. Y'all went back. Y'all put those things back on there as you were strengthening your own spiritual walks. And I think that's very, very important. The next thing that I want to get into is looking at the differences of maintaining your sexual purity when you're a couple versus doing it as an individual. What are some of the differences that you've noticed?
When I was doing it as an individual, it was hard because you don't have a support system. You don't have really. When I told girls, I'm celibate, they thought I was weird. Like, why? Like,
they ain't believe you, man.
You're not having sex. Like, what type of man does that? It makes no sense to me. And they're like, so I come kiss you, you're going to tell me no? Like, I'm like, no, I'm not doing none of that. Like, and it just came with its own challenge, because I was questioning myself, like, oh, am I weird? Like, why I'm doing this? But I just had to keep faith, and the enemy will try to send people around you to discourage you in your walk with God. So I just stayed my ground, I just held on to it. But being with Dom, it makes it easier because we're both on the same page. Sometimes we get emails from couples who one person wants to be celibate and the next person doesn't, and the battle that they have to go through because they're both not on one accord. But having Dominique as a partner, we're both on the same page. It makes it, a little bit more easier.
Yeah. For me, I kind of like share his same view, but when I was single, I kind of separated myself from all men. So it kind of like was easier for me, like flesh wise, when I was single, because I didn't have any distractions, because I didn't put myself around men when I was celibate, versus him. He was around, his circle and women and stuff like that. So for me, it was easy when I was, celibate, but it was lonely. It was lonely, but I had to find ways to encourage myself in my singleness to love who I was and what I represent and what I stood for. So being single and celibate is refreshing, but being in a relationship with a celibate partner is even more refreshing, because you actually have that opportunity to grow with the person. You have the opportunity to get to know the person for who they truly are and not letting sex cloud your judgment. And with our relationship, like, I have never been in this type of relationship before. Like, being celibate in a relationship, it's very easy to get through the journey because you are strengthened spiritually, but it's very hard flesh wise because you actually have the the meat on the table ready to eat, but you can't. But so it's like, yes, it is hard in a relationship, and it is easy in a relationship in certain areas. And in singleness, for me, it kind of was really easy because I didn't have the distraction.
All my real lovers out there, I know you guys are enjoying this podcast, and that means the world to me. Thank you so much for continuing to press that play button on a daily basis. What I would love for you guys to do, if you haven't already, please join our Real Love community. Because here's the thing, if you just listening and you ain't in the community, what fun is that? We want you to be a part of the family. And the best way to do that is to join our Real Love community. Not only will you be able to enjoy great podcasts on a daily basis, but you'll get emails from me periodically where we chop it up, where we talk about great things that are going on, beneficial things that you can begin applying in your life when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to faith. And it also provides you with the opportunity to get in contact with me, chop it up anytime that you need to. And I think that that is something that I would like to do. Hopefully it's something you would like to do. And if so, make sure you go ahead and join the Real Love community. And the beautiful thing about it is, if you decide to do that, I want to give you a free gift. So all you got to do is go to righttoreallove.com/gift, and it'll provide you with the opportunity to not only receive a free gift, but join the Real Love community at the same time. Because here's the thing, when you come into the family, we got something for you, baby. And I can't wait to provide you with it. I love you, real lovers, and I hope you'll make the decision to join our Real Love community. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for your honesty. I think that's really what I love. I love your honesty, your transparency. You guys keep it real, and I don't ask anything other than that. One of the things that you alluded to, Will, is that aspect of accountability. I would love for you guys to just speak to how that kind of plays a role in your relationship, where when one of you guys are feeling weak and the other one helps them, how does that balance work for you guys? And has there ever been a time when both of you may have been tested at the same time? And if so, how'd you get the strength in those situations?
Yo, like that pause was real. Like, yo, this is the one that I figured this one was coming.
It's really been like that a lot. Like, I'm weak and I just, I want her, and I just keep giving her that type of look and, grabbing up on her. She's kind of like, babe, what are you doing? Like, okay, well, respect my tempo. Well, do we have to separate right now? And it's vice versa. Whenever like she's weak and, she's grabbing on me, I'm kind of like, babe, no, like, remember what we're standing for and everything like that. Because like I said, to be transparent as possible, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to be a battle of the flesh. I'm never going to say celibacy is easy. It's going to be something that's going to take a lot of, willpower. You have to make sure that you're on top of that. So, and there has been times also where we both have been weak, and we felt just terrible about it. We're like, what are we doing, man? Like, we really sat there and allowed our flesh to overcome the victory today, and we just got to do better. So we just, go to prayer. We, ask God to strengthen us, and just be there on the times where we need him.
Yes. Like he said, just to elaborate, like when he has his weak points, is for some reason most of the time that those are my strong areas. Like that's my strong day. So it's like I'll say I'm gonna invite God in a room, and when I say that, he kind of like relaxes, like okay, all right, you got it.
It's almost
Or
like
like,
daddy's here.
yes,
Best
exactly.
behavior.
And sometimes I'll even break out in prayer, like, just right away, just start praying. And that's real because prayer gets us through a lot, man. Like a lot of times people say, like I pray, sometimes, but for us, prayer is consistent in our relationship. And when he has those weak points, I always ask him, like, give me your hand, let's pray. And prayer like calms it down. And, when I'm feeling weak, he is very, like, listen, babe, we have a higher purpose and we cannot fall today, because if we fall, our ministry falls, like who we are falls, and we're displeasing God. So he really, gets into me, like the fact that we are doing it for a higher purpose, and that it's just not about us and pleasing our flesh at the moment, but it's about all of our people watching us and our generation that is looking at us as examples. So yes, we do have times when we are both weak at the same time, and we have times when one is strong and one is weak. So we really try to help each other through all times. And when we do have those moments where, like I said, my lip slipped on his or something like that, we actually take it really seriously. We pray about it. Sometimes we fast. Sometimes we do all night prayers and stuff like that to get us spiritually back connected to Christ.
I love the fact that it's a collaborative effort. And I think that's one of the things that I hope the real lovers are really taking away from the things that you're sharing. Is the one thing that I really like about having this opportunity to speak with the two of you is that to see how there really is no I. Like, both of you are talking about experiences that you've had prior, but when you talk about the things that you're going through now, I just see it as a collaborative effort. And I think that's what ideally so many people desire. And I would love for you guys to just open up and talk about why God is pleased when a couple such as yourself makes a decision to remain pure prior to marriage.
Because if you see like our generation and what's going on now, like the message that's being said in music, to actually just listen, have sex, go out, let's party, live life. You only live once, And even we got people who, come on our YouTube channel who says, man, you guys just need to have sex. Like, stop all this foolery. Like, nobody wants to hear about this. And it just goes to show you, like, babe, we're doing something right. We're impacting others, because it just feels way better to not live by the world, but to live for God, to live by God's will. So it's like everybody's doing that, all right? Everybody's having sex. We all had sex before, we all had people you thought you would be with for the rest of your life, and they're not there no more. And you kept giving a piece of yourself to them every day, every night. And it's like we wanted to create a change, a different impact, a different view, for the glory of God. Like, listen, your flesh is something serious. It's your temple. You live with it for the rest of your life. Like, God says your body, is brought at a high price. God is almighty and he created everything. So if he calls your body a high price, we have to make sure that we take our body and, don't take it lightly. Like, it's something we need to appreciate and to love. It's your temple, so respect it.
Yeah, and for me, my view on it is just like, when God has given us all purpose, and to please him and be celibate and take this journey on is important to us, because God just wants us to live a life according to him. Like, he knows that we're not perfect. He knows that we're going to fall. He knows that we're going to make mistakes. But he has sent his son down. He has died for us just so that we can have the opportunity to repent and to, have the strength to get through. And I feel as though, like, biblically, like, that for me keeps me going, to know that, God died on the cross for us, and he actually saved us from these sins that he knew we were going to commit anyway. And I remember when we went to this show, his name was Ezekiel. He said, God died for you as you. So when you start to develop that meaningful relationship with Christ, you start to see celibacy as pleasing him, and you start to get happy, and you start to have more joy and more peace in your life, because anything that requires God to be involved in it is something that is a must in your life. And when this happens, it transforms you. It makes you experience Christ on another level. Us keeping our bodies for ourselves is what God wanted, or else he wouldn't have put it in his word. So when he put in his word that we should not have sex, before marriage, it made me want to have a marriage that can exemplify what he's talking about. I want to see desperately what God meant when he said that he wanted us to wait. Like, I want to see what waiting does versus what I've already know what not waiting does. So I want to see how strong our marriage would be, how more, equipped we would be for marriage while waiting, because that's what he wanted and that's what he requires of us. So it's exciting to know that there's a surprise waiting on the other end. And I'm just so happy that I have a partner who's willing to wait and willing to please God and fall in the path that God has for us together.
Now, real lovers, we're going to stop today because I got some take action now steps that I want to share with you. First things that you got to do, you have to write down a list of your boundaries. Know what your boundaries are individually as a couple, so that when you do get in a relationship, or if you're already in a relationship, you guys can put those boundaries in place. Write them down, write them down, write them down. It is not enough to just have these mental boundaries that you know in your mind. No, write them down on paper. Talk about it with your partner. That's the way to get it done the right way. And the second thing I want you to do, I want you to begin to prepare and learn more about the importance of celibacy. This is something that we talked about in a few series before. I told you it's so important for us to gain as much information as we can about celibacy. You want to know why it's important, you want to know how it can benefit you, and you want to know what it takes, what is the cost to live a celibate lifestyle. This is the way that you do it. Get as much information as you can. Ask people who are living celibate lifestyles and get as much information as you can. Because like I shared with you before, man, we will perish. We are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. So don't let lack of knowledge be the reason why you make bad choices, especially in regards to living a celibate lifestyle. That's everything I got for you, real lovers. Not a lot to take away today, but in the sense of quantity. But there are a lot of things to take away in regards to the quality of what we talked about. Boundaries, learning as much as you can about celibacy. It's going to take work. DTW, do the work, and it will definitely pay off in the long run for you. Real lovers, Will and Dom got some more that they're going to get into, and we're going to share with you in the next part. So make sure you come back then. But right now, I just want to say, stay blessed, live, and love life. Thank God for another podcast. Deuce.